Welcome everyone to the first PolyTitans replay review. I'm Chris, and as the welcome video may have informed you, these videos are going to be me reacting to our showcase games, the best games from the tournament, highest level, highest impact, most impressive plays. Let me show you what's going on in this first game. In the East, playing Bardur, we have Vorce, who's one of our top players, top ranked on Challenger mode, definitely a World Championship qualifier, somebody who we'll probably see in Sweden. And in the North, we have Dux, another strong player, also top ranked on Challenger mode. That is going to be a common thread you will see amongst these players. But I don't want to bore you with the introduction. Let's get right into the action. So starting off, looking at this map, we've got a fairly even city count, but notice that the Pangea villages, right, these villages on the ocean are on Vorce's side. And what that means is that these central villages are going to be super important, right? Look at what Dux has. Dux has got these two fairly close villages, and then another one farther in the west. But the only other villages that Dux will really be able to claim in any reasonable amount of time are these central villages, and whoever is able to establish control over the center is probably going to be the one who dictates the pace of the game, especially since Dux's West City is so far away. That city's going to be hard to defend, hard to attack from, etc. Without further ado, let's get into things. Vorce going to expand directly towards the center, looking for that village in the northwest. Both players getting their upgrades. Notice Dux has this ruin, and because of that central movement is going to be going for the ruin first. Vorce, normal expansion, we're seeing 3 warrior opening from Dux. Org from Vorce. Notice Vorce does not have 2 animals on the second city, so going to be looking for organization instead. Trying to get that explore, but opts for a workshop instead. Vet sword. Oh my goodness, guys, we were talking about the importance of the center. Look at this veteran swordsman. It's going to be able to walk directly towards the center village. Dux can't really support it all that well. There's a lot of space, a lot of open space between Dux's cities and the center, but the vet sword should really help Dux at least try to get a city advantage in the early game. Climbing from Vorce, I love this, right guys? Look at this, look at this. Although Vorce misses out on this earlier ruin, gets vision over the center, sees this really clutch village, and notice, nice forge spot on Vorce's second city. Climbing also allows Vorce to find this other village that is on his side. And all these mountains in the center are going to make climbing really attractive going into the middle game. Tons of vision to be obtained, but also the ability to navigate this otherwise rough terrain, heavy central part of the map. Construction opening. This is what we commonly see when we're looking at the 3 warrior opening from Zabasi, especially with the delayed captures coming in from Dux. And that's going to allow for some quick giants. Also looking at getting this central city and having construction, maybe going to try and pop a giant there eventually with the monument. But for now, it's just going to be the go game from Dux, trying to set up those windmill spots for later. Vorce going to step on this ruin. Dux could kick him off, but it would cost him the central village, or it would at least delay it. And we're going to see mining from Vorce. Great, great, strong start. Wow, and Dux opts to step off the central village. This is crucial. Still has this warrior coming in, can claim it in a couple of turns, but Vorce has an opportunity. Go back to Vorce's perspective. This is a smithery giant coming in pretty soon. It can potentially contest the center. So yes, secures the ruin for Dux, but this central village may be more important. We may see this come into play very shortly. Looking at riding for Dux, wants to at least exert some kind of control over the center of the map. Still does not know, is still entirely unaware that the rest of the map is a little barren on his side, so riding may end up backfiring. This is going to be smithery from Vorce. That's a turn 8 giant, folks. Turn 8, going to be walking straight into the center. So yes, Dux is going to get both the population ruin. Oh my goodness, that was huge. Yes, Vorce is getting his giant, but Dux's population ruin is going to also allow him to get one of his own. We're going to see a push of the warrior using the monument to get stars back, continuing to grow economy. If we're looking at relative economy, Vorce is way up, 16 stars per turn, and this explorer is going to reveal everything he needs to know about the center of the map. This is looking a little bit dire for Dux, despite securing the central village. It is even city count, and Vorce is the one with the early giant. Would have loved to have seen Dux just try to play for that capital giant, opts for an explorer instead, using the burn forest feature. We're seeing this vet sword cause some problems for Vorce, but because Dux's giant is so delayed, it doesn't matter as much. Another vet sword in the back, that is not what you like to see if you are Dux. You're probably hoping for stars or population there, or even a tech. And although there is some continual pressure being applied here, and Dux can kick Vorce off of this village while also grabbing the ruin, notice that Dux has roads maybe looking at trade, but probably won't have time. No giants means that Vorce is going to continue walking into the position. Sure enough, look at this giant siege coming down. Dux is so light on units. Vorce going to just block here. Maybe was hunting after that rider, did not see that it actually went onto this ruin. Would have been able to kill it instead. Oh my goodness, and this backfires hugely for Vorce. Dux getting a star ruin on turn 11. That is huge. That is going to allow for the second windmill to come down, and now we're going to see the burn forest, maybe for 2 giants out of the capital. Instead, opting for a giant in C2, that is perfectly fine. Second city giant looks excellent. And now, Dux has the giant advantage, at least temporarily. Vorce going to be able to get a really nice border growth in the city in the center, but does have to be careful about that border growth. We may see later that Dux may have to look into cloaks or really knights or something to get this position back under control, because look at this. Vorce is also going to deny the capture of the west city, so Dux stuck on 3 cities to Vorce's 6 right now, is going to probably be able to secure the city in the west now. Gets trade, gets the markets up. That is huge. Vorce giving Dux the opportunity to do that by not pressuring the east city as much, or is unable to, I should say. And now we are going to see, leaving open the siege, potentially there is some blocking potential here, but looks like the unsiege is still possible for Dux. Dicey situation, however. Dux only has those 2 units to unsiege with, and the sword is coming in as well. Going to be able to lock that city down with the giant, also capture on the same turn. And the markets are going to be really important for Dux here, who is actually up SPT despite... Oh, here it is. Blocking with the giant. I'm not sure I see a way for Dux to unsiege that northeast city this turn. Can maybe... Oh my goodness. And here it is. Construction. Going to have that level 3. And then maybe, yes, border growth. Can burn another forest here. And look at getting... Oh, Gate of Power. Getting that last kill that was needed to unsiege. And that's going to be a huge hold for Dux. Although the position is still super dicey. Does have 2 giants there. One of them is going to fall to unit spam from Vorce, who's also getting a nice cap siege. Great play. And now we're going to see that although Dux was able to pop that giant, it might not be enough. This is a huge smother from Vorce. Border growth in the center as well to add insult to injury. Gets the Grand Bazaar, uses it to get the giant in the center, and now we are seeing further unit spam. Another monument comes down for Vorce. Another border growth up 2 cities, still 3 cities now because of this edge city with the bridge play. And yes, Dux has markets. Yes, Dux is up stars per turn, but the position is collapsing. If Vorce can find some crucial sieges here, it will spell doom. But Vorce is going to play a little passive. Vorce is saying, I don't have markets yet. Maybe let me look at some markets. Gets those 2 nice forges down. Backs up the giant. Dux has time. 41 stars per turn. Plenty of space. There's no units pressuring the west, which is what I would have expected here. And look at this passive play from Vorce. Vorce is actually down over 10 stars per turn in this position. Going to mean chivalry from Ducks, and this is uncontested, ladies and gentlemen. Uncontested chivalry. Vorce is going to back all the way up and get trade. 2 nice markets, evens out the stars per turn. But then we see dip low from Ducks, and I love this play. Notice, goes chivalry first. Forces Vorce to back up the units, to space them out, and now we see cloaks. And these 3 giants here are providing all the zone of control you need to start sneaking cloaks into this big border growth city. And Vorce is going to get chivalry himself, also going to get knights, but maybe doesn't realize at this point in the position, if we go back and look at Vorce's vision, has vision of the cloak, but maybe not a plan to reveal it, and this is going to be huge. That is a big city in the center, lots of tiles to defend from. Going to tap that giant, but does not opt to do anything else. Archery from Ducks, going to get those defense bonuses going, getting mathematics, getting a catapult, maybe looking to pepper away at the giants in the position. Not sure it's going to make a difference. Vorce already has knights, and now we see mathematics from Vorce, who is getting those high-level markets in the center of his position. So will the cloak chain from Ducks be enough? Going to be able to take down, or nearly take down, this giant in the center of the position from Vorce. And this matters a lot, right? This city, Arkbur, could be under pressure. There's only 1 giant defending it, and there's a nice knight lane that can be opened up if this giant were to fall. And so this side of the map is going to be crucial for Vorce to hang on to if he can. Going to be bringing units in from the back. Here's another knight, and that is a big chain of daggers going to end with a hit on the giant if Vorce wants it. Probably going to get the veteran first. Gets another market down. And we're going to see the 17 HP giant back up, and this is nice from Vorce, being able to heal that giant eventually. But this is brutal. 2 cloaks now in Vorce's position, and all those defense bonuses are going to mean that Vorce's riders are actually going to be the most important units here. We're going to see some market optimization from Ducks, choosing to take a little bit of negative population if it means getting a second market down, and that is going to really amp up the stars per turn from Ducks. Going to sacrifice a rider here from Vorce, maybe looking at trying to get another chain into the giant here, and yes, that giant is now 12 HP. That is the threshold to be killed by a knight. And so Vorce could choose to kill it this turn, but maybe is going to wait, knows the giant is on low HP, doesn't matter as much anymore. But the cloaks are still coming in. Ducks had to take 1 turn off of cloaking. Actually is not going to have to take a turn off of cloaking. Does have the other cloak waiting in the back, and there it is. And Vorce is under so much pressure, despite being up 3 cities here. Cannot really make progress because of these cloaks, needing to mop up daggers every single turn. And this is costing him a lot. I mean, he doesn't have as many small units. He's got a lot of knights, but otherwise is really going to be struggling to break out of the position. Ducks has this well-placed catapult that can pretty much always guarantee that one of the daggers ends up in the city. Now we see Aquatism from Ducks wants the daggers to spawn in the water to make them more annoying. And look at these dagger placements, right? Because of this border growth, there's only 4 tiles in this city that are water, and so all of the defense bonus daggers will spawn there, and that is incredibly annoying for Vorce, who's going to have to put a knight inconveniently on this mountain to try to chain all of these daggers. Otherwise, the daggers are going to maybe grab the city in the southwest, maybe threaten this low-level city that Vorce has over here. And so, yes, Vorce, 4 knights, lots of ability to attack giants, but not a lot of ability to mop up daggers effectively. Going to, as I said, need to put a knight directly on this mountain, and cannot really stop the dagger chain. Needed to find a cloak early, but hasn't been able to do so. can maybe chip away fully at this giant on the mountain, chooses not to, maybe allowing for a bomber play from Dux, who can land a nice siege on that city in addition to the 2 cloaks coming in. Choosing to siege with the giant instead is Dux, who decides now is the time. I am going to apply maximum pressure to the position. Gets sailing as well. This is going to be bombers from Dux soon. And Vorce is running out of options, despite being up cities. Notice how constricted the position is for Vorce, who is going to have to throw so many units at this giant. Yes, that's 3 knights. Going to be able to chain this catapult. Notice, however, if we turn off the fog and look at Dux's position, where was that cloak? That cloak was here. It might have been possible to reveal the cloak first and chain into the city, but unfortunately for Vorce, does not find that angle. And so we are going to see Vorce unable to stop this cloak chain. Now there are 3 cloaks, 3 cloaking cities in play. There are defense bonus defender ships coming in as well to harass Vorce on the water. Does manage to mop up the daggers effectively, but is still on the back foot. Navigation bomber coming in, and now huge chain from Dux all the way through the position, is able to kill another giant, walk in with his own giant. That is 2 cloaks as well coming in, and Vorce is under a lot of pressure. Gonna need to be able to find something here. Maybe is going to opt for some kind of cloak play himself to try to take advantage of the massive border growths in the position and the fact that there are very few safe cities for Dux to train knights from. Finds an opening but doesn't have the knight to come in and chain this catapult and knight in the west, and that is going to allow for another chain from Dux. These bombers are just so destructive, and now we're seeing a cloak into 3 cities this turn. Dux chooses not to actually cloak all 3 cities. Very interesting decision. Going to instead put bombers in the water in the west, or in the east, and going to train 3 more cloaks this turn. The story of this game has been Vorce trying to break out, trying to convert that city advantage. I think he thought he had the game in the bag when he walked back, but did not, in fact, have the openings he was looking for. This is a huge chain if Vorce finds it. Does not find it. Does not find this opening. Needed to kill this dagger somehow and bring the knight around, and it's just not quite there. Now we see Dux able to grab the ruin and the starfish in the east. Going to have complete control over unit trains in the capital. Spiritualism grabbing Forest to block the knight movement, and this is going to shut down any potential for Vorce to make progress with knights if he's able to capitalize. Going to go ahead and take out this bomber. That's a huge 15-star investment lost from Dux. And there it is, finally sees the angle on the chain, but no unit to chain into the city with. No way to force a giant pop out of Dux. And now we're seeing Vorce needing to get in the water to try and recover the position. Try to recover naval control if he can. But Dux has starfish. Dux has the ruin. Dux has 2 bombers. Dux is still not out of giants. Neither player out of giants. Vorce finally has a giant that is fully healed in the back. Can maybe bring that up and apply some more pressure. But Dux has created some space for himself with the bombers, with the giant zone of control, with the defender spam coming into the middle of the map. And Vorce hasn't been able to find the efficient chains that he would love to get here. Is basically playing dagger mop-up duty, and has been for the last 10-ish turns. Now we're seeing yet another chain, yet another cloak, but some of the defense bonus tiles are blocked, as we see. Some of the daggers were already blocking, the swordsman was already blocking, and so some of these daggers are instead spawning on non-defense bonus tiles, which allows for this really nice chain all the way into one of the defenders. And if Vorce can find the angle here, there is the possibility to maybe find this cloak. Does not see it, does not find it. This Knight being on the mountain matters a lot for its total movement. Can't quite make it to the front lines. And now these bombers are blasting away at Vorce's capital, which is slowly falling here despite getting a giant there just last turn. It's already at half HP, and now the position is really starting to fall apart. Vorce was up 3 whole cities. Both players had markets. There was no SPT advantage despite the cloak income. And Vorce is losing. Vorce is losing in a position where he was up 3 cities because of this constant cloak pressure. That first cloak landing really gave Ducks a huge advantage. And now we are seeing that advantage pan out. Vorce cannot pressure, grabbing an 8th city on turn 32. Gonna get ramming here. Gonna look at another level 3. Needs more units in the back. Has that backline city with the bridge. But misses the most crucial chain of the game. Look at this. 6 HP swordsman connects to 3 knights, a catapult, and a rider. That is a huge amount of stars. 35 stars in addition to the 6 HP swordsman. That is devastating for Vorce. And now we are going to see the position begin to fall apart. This knight is providing so much zone of control. Vorce has a random 6 HP rider sitting on the 8th city he wanted to capture. The bombers are continuing to lock down Vorce's capital. It has been a 33-turn game thus far. Slow incremental pressure manages to clear out the zone of control and get a knight to chain through the daggers. Has a rammer as well. Decides to bring it back on land. Needs more units to unsiege. Gets a catapult all the way in the back, and the daggers are doing work. Bombers have nothing to hit, but that just means that they can move into better positions. And here we see all of the pressure mounting all at once. That is an Emperor's Tomb giant to get the cloak push. Lands the juggernaut for some nice splash damage. Can unsiege here, and with a beautiful chain through quite a few daggers, is going to be able to unsiege everything. Is Vorce. Beautiful stuff all the way through to the giant, and that is a cloak dead. That is what Vorce has been needing all game. 34 turns, and Vorce is still hanging on despite 3 cities being under constant pressure. Can barely train anything in capital, is still hanging on for dear life. There is a veteran warrior siege using that rammer from the ruin earlier, and now it is knights, now it is smithery from Ducks, looking at getting even more giants if possible. Giants are the name of the game here. The more giants you have, the more secure sieges you can get, especially in a game where both players are running out of that limited resource. Gonna see farming to unsiege. You never see farming as Bardur, but here we have it. This is what Market's late game looks like. But that doesn't stop Ducks, and that is the story of this game. Vorce has been doing everything he can, but it doesn't stop Ducks, who still has daggers coming into the position, still has cloaks, going to be looking at getting philosophy here because he wants even more technology. Can just do it, because why not when you have so many stars? Ladies and gentlemen, these players are playing a live game, and that means that if they need to get something, they're just going to get it, even if they can't use it in this late of a position where every second counts. Time pressure is really going to start to add up, and that is why we are seeing philosophy. That is why we are seeing players moving units, getting resources prepped, even if they can't use it on the same turn. Maybe some inaccuracies here and there, but still beautiful play from both sides. That is a 31 HP giant siege in the west. And Tower of Wisdom, that is why the philosophy was used. Another giant. Guys, this is a level 9 city. This is a level 8 city. These cities are both level 6. That is insane. Gonna veteran first is Vorce. Beautiful. Using the veteran initially to continue the chain. Going to be able to actually push back a little bit here. Has some space now in the south part of his position to safely train more units. And notice getting riders, still has stars left over, needs the riders to continue clearing daggers. Vorce recognizes this, and finally we're going to see Ducks play for that ruin in the east that he could have claimed earlier. The giants are marching into the position. If Ducks can secure a triple siege here with 2 full HP giants. That might be the end of the game. Will we see him be able to pull it out, or will Vorce finally play for naval control in the west, using those 2 island cities to his advantage? Still has avenues for victory, does Vorce, and that is why this game is continuing. Going to be able to pepper away at that giant. Remember what I said about those 2 full HP giant sieges? That is what Vorce needs to prevent at all costs if he can. But Dux is still advancing. Dux is still pushing. Has not given up an inch of space in the middle of the map since turn 15. Turn 15, it has been 23 turns, and water temples! Oh my goodness! From Dux, we are seeing water temples for another giant. Wow. But it does not quite get there, and so Dux is not going to have another heavy HP, another 40 HP unit walking into the position quite yet. And Vorce is building up a catapult in the back that has been safe there for several turns. If Vorce can get a few more catapults, those daggers are going to start to look a lot less scary. And notice that stockpile of units being built up by Vorce in the southeast. Duck's going to be bringing a juggernaut around, gets a star rune, doesn't really matter at this point with the market income, but doesn't hurt either. And we saw max cloak trains from Dux on the previous turn, and this is why. The stars that have been stolen over the course of the game from Dux have enabled all of this spending, and that is why we are seeing 7 water temples from Dux to be able to get this giant. But Vorce is not going to go down without a fight in the west either. Going to also be able to hit the juggernaut on that side. Going to be able to clear out most of the daggers. But we're seeing a change in the position. Something is shifting, and let me draw your attention to it. Notice that on previous turns, Vorce had been able to clear out majority of the daggers, had been able to reestablish control. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Zabasi daggers left over. This is the first turn where Vorce has been truly unable to clear out all the daggers. And there are still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Zabasi cloaks in play that Vorce has been unable to touch. 2 bombers on this side that have been peppering away at the capital, preventing Vorce from training anything useful there. And then if that wasn't enough, now we have this attack with the juggernaut coming in. This city is starting to look a little bit threatened. And another siege coming down on Vorce's position. And here we are seeing the daggers collapse on the island city that is so hard for Vorce to defend because he doesn't have a navy. But not all hope is lost. This chain is coming through to the middle of the map, going to use a giant push to defend that city. First temple being placed. I haven't seen a temple in a hot minute in these types of games. And there, the daggers are getting cleared out, but maybe Dux was prepping, and yes, he was. Cloak in the capital on this turn. That is insanely huge. Look at how annoying this is. Defender directly into the capital. This rammer is zone of controlled. This catapult is the only thing standing between Vorce and defeat. And now we are seeing why Dux was saving up the cloaks from last turn. This is a 3-pronged cloak attack in addition to the giants walking into the position as well. Not sieging, knowing Vorce has the 2 giants to unsiege, but waiting until the opportune moment, creating super awkward zone of control. And there is another small chain. Units matter, ladies and gentlemen. It does not matter if the knight doesn't get star value. If units are dead, that is mission accomplished. But maybe Vorce can do something here. Still able to deal good damage to the giants. Gets a sawmill, preps for another giant in capital. There is not going to be another cloak hitting Vorce's capital for a minute here. And so Vorce is going to have a little bit of time. This was unexpected from Dux, but Dux decides not to cloak, decides instead to funnel this cloak towards the capital. It's risky, it's ballsy, but Dux is doing it anyway because 4 cloaks is better than 3. And if Dux can land all 4 cloaks on the same turn, if Dux can push through with one final attack, the game might be over. This is turn 43, an absolute slugfest from both players. Endgame Pangea is something you don't often see because of the nature of the map type. Usually center control is going to allow one player to push through to victory, but Vorce reveals the cloak. There's no chain to capital, and this is huge. Vorce is going to create so much space. Yes, has to use the giant. Yes, has to check that spot. But there's no cloak coming into capital. Vorce's capital is safe for one more turn. But will it be enough? Look at this dagger siege coming down in the west. Is Vorce going to lose that city? Has a chain through the middle. Massive chain. Maybe is also chaining through the giant. Is going to just be forced to unsiege this city. Can't even chain through the giant. Doesn't have enough units. Gets the veteran. Gets the other knight coming through to unsiege. But can't unsiege the west. That city is falling. And Vorce has no navy. Vorce only has 49 stars to work with. 2 knights left in the cities because there is no way for them to continue pushing here. There's a 30 HP giant sieging here. There's a 34 HP giant sieging here. Dux can cloak on his turn if he would like. Notice, train to cloak in the back and has additional cloaks coming in with the knight spam to support. And Vorce resigns on turn 44, even before Dux captured his 5th city. Dux wins an 8v4 city disadvantage. Congratulations, Dux. Thank you for this absolutely beautiful game, and thank you to both players. Well played to both sides. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to PolyTitans. We are going to continue putting out showcase games whenever we can, whenever our players produce beautiful games like this. If you want to see more of this type of content, let me know down in the comments. And if you want to see something else from PolyTitans, if you want to see a different style, also let me know. Again, this is the first video, and I'm looking for feedback. I hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you, and have a good one.